big ask, excuse me, if Biddulph and Nabil have been driving the way they have been throughout the start of this race, it might be a bit more difficult.
Yeah, certainly would be. Let's have a look at Rama Maulana, shall we? P4 right now from Indonesia. This would be our first ever Indonesian driver to make it through to the DTM Esports main show, the main championship, and well, doing it at Cantor right now. Got no real pressure from in front, so could afford to sort of just chill out if you like, and no real pressure from behind as well. And actually, Luciano Whitver, who has probably moved up the most positions from qualifying. I'm pretty sure he's outside the top 16 before in qualifying. He's moved up to P5. He's got Juhas in behind him. But yeah, Andika Rama Maulana, again, I've commentated on him so many times in the G Challenge, commentated him on an SRO, and now getting to commentate on him in Raceroom Esports as well. And it's very rare that you see a driver participating over 3 different disciplines. And Maulana is one of those very special, talented drivers. Great to see him up there.
The flexibility of some sim races is absolutely fantastic. No matter what they throw themselves into, some of them, they just immediately pick it up, do it well. I mean, there are some fundamental skills that are useful across all the different disciplines or across all the different sims, yes, but to be able to pick things up that fast and not immediately being on a very, very competitive level, I've always found really, really impressive.
Yeah. So when I first started in sim racing, I say the story all the time. You know, over 10 years ago, there was maybe 10, 15 drivers that would just be at every esports finale. Doesn't matter what game it was on. Now there are just thousands of drivers at such a level across multiple different sims that to find someone who's good across, you know, multiple different ones is so difficult, so tough to find them. But ironically, you know, in the top 4, you've got 3 of them. So obviously Maulana, we've already spoke about. Yajowski's one of the best drivers of all time on different sims. You've got Isaac Price, who's also very much the same. We're on board though with Nabil, who's got that nice bit of room to work with, actually probably catching up to the group in front. Would be nice to gain a few more freebies with 7 minutes on the clock left to go. Not really that opportunity. Lichtenhagen, who's up to P23 now actually. So he managed to gain a spot, and I guess that would have been because of Milniak, actually, with the Porsche facing the wrong way through. Turn number 1 as we see Ascend up the inside from Thibaut Casabon. Of course, we saw him facing the wrong way out of turn 1 earlier on, and he was actually in P30 from that position right at the back of the grid, and now making his way through the pack, and it might be worth staying on board with him here, because I think there might be a couple of opportunities for him, trying to open up back onto the oval, and then send one up the inside in towards turn number 5. Not quite close enough, I don't think, this time around. But we'll be hoping for some fighting in front. Oh, there's a spinner. Well, that's a freebie. That makes life a little bit easier. Who was that? Abalade, who, again, someone I've commentated on the SRO series over the last couple of years. And, yeah, that is an unforced error by the looks of things. So we won't be able to see the replay of that, unfortunately. But he was not facing in the right direction. And you can't park there, sir.
No, absolutely not. And down to P29, it will require a Herculean effort in race number 2 to try and offset that. Try and pick up as many positions now. Try to get that recovery drive going for the last 5.5 minutes. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. I mean, you can see Casabon, he's already been attempting for the entirety of the race with 5.5 minutes to go. He only just got up to P25, so it just goes to show how close and competitive this field is. I mean, what, we had like 7-8 tenths of a second separating the entire field.
I like Thibaut. Thibaut's a good lad. He really is. See a Lamborghini then. The sole Lamborghini making a move into turn number 1. Brilliantly done. Yeah, nicely negotiated. Love to see that. Yeah, job done. Still seeing some fighting going on here. Thibaut Casabon trying to make a move on Shari. He's now going to cut underneath, I think. Should get the exit. Has got the overlap. Brilliant stuff. I should say the underlap. To head there down towards turn number 6. Down before we get to the apex. Sweeps across the bonnet to stop any advancements from behind. And that is P24 now for him. And I think Lichtenhagen's now moved up to P22 because of some spins as well. So very good there from Lichtenhagen. Oh, yeah, there we go. Lichtenhagen up to P22. The only Mercedes on the grid. And unfortunately, you're outside the top 16 still. But I think if you can get yourself in the top 16 and then wait for people to make mistakes like we've seen during this race, that's probably the best way of going about things.
Yeah, that's probably, well, I mean, it's one route.
Well,
for
apart
sure.
from qualifying pole and winning, that's definitely the best way.
Yeah, that would be the best way, but I mean, the field was very close. I mean, you can get a lap of a lifetime to do it, but yeah, it's still a difficult road from this position here. You got a big defense to the wall for Narkim Lieber here as Miniak goes down the inside towards turn number 1. That Porsche getting the pass done on the BMW. That was a big defense to the inside pit wall though from Lieber. It was gave really Malinek only one option.
No, absolutely. And again, if he doesn't spin earlier on in this race, ultimately, it's a whole different story. I've seen a few people there. Why is it like 80% Ferrari? Well, people pick the car that's the fastest to qualify through to the main series, Dominic. I'm not sure it takes too many brain cells to work that one out. But when we get to the main series, then they have to choose a car for the whole championship. So right now, they just choose the fastest car for today. And if they get through, then the next part of the championship, they've got 6 rounds, 12 races in total, and they have to use the same car from the start to the finish of the season. So there you go.
Yeah, so you will probably end up seeing a little bit more variety in terms of the car choices for next season. So so yes, the shootout looks like this with 15 billion Ferraris, but the main season will be different, and also all the drivers will be using their own liveries too, instead of ones from the DTM series.
It's always good when you get the esports team's liveries into the game, and you'll be able to buy your friend, if your friends qualify for the series, you'll be able to buy their livery and use it in the real game. So yeah, this it's a really, really cool series. But right now they're using the cars from last year that are in the game, and ultimately once we get past this phase, they get their own car in the game. So we're about to see a potential move down the inside. Thibaut Casabon will then cut across Zimmerman. Oh, I'll tell you what. Oh, it's Pfeiffer. It is Pfeiffer. Absolutely, it is Pfeiffer. Making a move on Vera. And that is for P11. Doesn't really need to do that, but any extra points right now makes race 2 a lot easier.
Yeah, Pfeiffer making some good progress there. A response, though, from Vera down on the brakes, at least to show the nose. And actually, it's a little bit more. The door left open by Pfeiffer. The BMW down the inside, but can't quite capitalize, can't quite maintain the overlap, and the battle just settles down. There's a bit of a pairing ahead of them between Vili Creevy and De Bruyne as well. So places to look at for the last minute and a half.
Yeah, we've got 2 more laps remaining by the looks of things. Price still leads 1 second clear of Sheehan. Then you've got Maulana's up to P3. So what's happened to Yuyovsky? He's down to P7. So there must have been an issue. He must have made a mistake somewhere or been involved in something. But he's now P7. On
my timing screen, he has 5 off tracks. The most anyone else has is 2. So
slow down.
Yeah, potentially, but he's fallen back into the clutches of Julian Kunze. Vili Creevy's also involved in this as well. So, yeah, it's I mean, it's not a massive problem for Hanyovsky. It just eats into his buffer for that second race, but it still should be comfortable. But yeah, it was a weird one, that one.
No, it really was a strange one. Maulana, though, isn't going to be too worried about that. Podium on their debut in this series if they manage to finish the job off. And again, no real pressure from behind. Nothing really to be too worried about up in front. You don't think Sheehan and Price are going to suddenly lose 4 seconds on the final lap of this race. We come around that final corner. 25 seconds left on the clock. And we're about to start the final lap of race number 1. So remember, guys, the top 16 after 2 races today, in terms of their points added together, will make it through to the DTM Esports Grid 2025. 3 weeks ago, we had the first shootout, which is at the Oschersleben circuit. And now we're trying to find the second 16, with making a grid of 32 drivers. The 32 drivers. Any potential moves going to be made down towards turn number 1. The last chance for turn number 1. And you can see there, we're potentially seeing Millenier making a move on Vollebrecht. Sends it down in towards turn number 1. It's going to be almost contacting, actually. It has to back out of it there. So Millenier, in a bit of pressure, or under a bit of pressure, was clearly going to finish in the top 16 if there wasn't a mistake. And it was a mistake made all on their own. And ultimately, this is going to be a very tough race number 2.
Yep. And one to look at, of course. There's the grid for race 2 is another qualifying session. So it doesn't matter what result they got here in this first race. We'll do qualifying again for the second race. So no grids, the results of this, or any reverse grid situations going on. Absolutely not. It's just going to be another qualifying session and another race. But Isaac Price, he's coming towards the end of the lap right now, and with a very, very comfortable win.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks, and sometimes you just don't need to. Because Isaac Price back in the winner's circle. Congratulations to him. Very, very accomplished driver. Has been around for a long, long time and picks up another race win at the top end of sim racing. Emre Cihan back to the top end of Raceroom for him as well. Great performance from him. Andika Maulana, first attempt at trying to get through to the DTM Esports series. First Indonesian as well. And well, with that podium, shall I say, will get through. Luciano Whitver finishes in 4th position. A great drive from him. Juhas is in 5th. We've got Berliak and Yuyovski finishing in 6th and 7th. We've got Julian Kunze, Ville Kraevi, and Kaj De Bruin in your top 10. We've got Pfeiffer, Vera, Vlietstra, who's so good they named it twice. Nabil, Bidolf, Pinches, Huben, Kremers, and Vollebrecht as your top 19. And then we've got Milniak, Lieber, Lichtenhagen, Casabon, Zimmerman, Jari, Filipao, Mackenberg, Abeladze, and Ratai. Are there any more drivers to talk about? Well, we've got Mosin, who finished, and then actually there's only one DNF. Gregor Hudjek in P31 with a DNF. And I was going to mention during that race, but we didn't really have time to. Qualifying is absolutely key. And with there only being 0.8 of a second between P1 and P31, if you can find yourself a 10th somewhere, if you've qualified P20 in that first race, if you can find a 10th of a second somewhere, you are going to be so much higher in that order. You're going to gain maybe 10 positions. It is that tight.